windy city due to the breezes coming in across Lake Michigan, but it's also attributed to the politicians who historically talked a lot of hot air.
Chicago is very much a musical city, from jazz and blues through to dance music, but it's also provided the backdrop for a lot of movies, films like Pretty in Pink, The Untouchables, High Fidelity and Batman: The Dark Knight.
This is the only river in the world that flows backwards. They reversed the direction of the flow in the 1900s to save the city from waterborne diseases. Plus, being a real Irish city, they dyed green on St. Patrick's Day.
We've taken on board the advice you've sent us via our website and come up with our top 5 things to do in Chicago based on your recommendations. We've also thrown in a few of our own interesting alternatives. And kicking us off at number 5 is a river cruise. Chicago is a very easy city to get around. We'd recommend to properly get your bearings, take a tour of the Chicago River. Now, there are many tours available, but the one you recommended was the architecture tour. It really is a great way to see the city, and if you're a film fan, some of it will seem very familiar. For example, right over there, that's the building they used in the bank job in Dark Knight. And up there, that's the building where Ferris Bueller's dad worked.
Thanks to America's best-known gangster, Al Capone, and the collapse of law and order during the 1920s Prohibition era, Chicago was known as a lawless city. But now its reputation is more as a legitimate centre for big business. Chicago historically has a large Irish community, and there's a legendary story about how a cow belonging to Mrs. O'Leary, an Irish immigrant, kicked a lantern over and started the Great Chicago Fire that almost completely destroyed the city in 1871. The Irish are still one of the largest ethnic groups in the city, and even our deckhand has Celtic connections.
My family's from Westport in the County Mayo. My great-grandfather came over here. Any tourist that comes to Chicago should definitely go on an architectural tour. We are the architectural capital of the world, something we're very proud of. Chicago is also one of the top culinary cities in the world, so when you come here you should definitely eat. People coming here from Ireland, we have a rich Irish history here in the city of Chicago. On the northwest side there's the Irish American Heritage Center, which has a great library. Really, it represents people with Irish descent here in the United States of America. We also have on the south side Gaelic Park, where there's hurling and whatnot. It's great to see, though, how much that the Irish traditions here in the United States were very much so kept alive.
The architecture tour really is the best way to get to grips with the geography of Chicago.
Wasn't that really cool? What a brilliant way to see the city.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't think I was interested in architecture, but the buildings here are absolutely fabulous. That was a great tour.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. Let's go.
Lake Michigan is to Chicagoans what Central Park is to New York. There are 33 beaches close to the city centre, and this one is literally a 2-minute walk from the main shopping area. How handy is that? As you can see, the lake can be choppy and unpredictable sometimes, so just be careful if you are going out for a swim. And remember the sun cream. We visited at the end of August and the temperatures were in the 30s. After a hard day's work in the city, Chicagoans like to chill out on the beach. Today, I'm meeting up with my cousin Sean, who's lived here for the past 10 years.
So it's a bit of a change from Cong and County Mayo.
It certainly is. I think it's raining at home right now, so it's good. It's a good way of life. It's a good city. The people who make it the most comfortable. They're Midwestern attitude. They're almost like people at home. They make you feel welcome and warm, and they certainly welcome me.
And if someone's coming over now to Chicago just on a city break to see the place, what would you recommend they have to do?
Generally, I always start off with a trip up to one of the towers and let them take in the city for what it is, because they're not used to buildings of that height. The lakefront, there's so much to do. Navy Pier, very children orientated. The museums, there's something to do 365 days of the year in Chicago, summer and winter. It's fantastic.
You told us shopping was a big attraction in Chicago, and this area will seriously worry your bank manager. This is Michigan Avenue, also known as the Magnificent Mile. It's a wallet-wilting parade of the biggest names in retail. Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Tiffany's, Armani and Topshop. You've also got a little bit of history and architecture in this area. Behind me is the Pump House, a rare survivor of the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. But let's face it, if you're around this area, you're just here to burn some cash. You said the best way to see this city is from the air.
Or at least a really high vantage point.
This is the sky deck on the Willis Tower, once known as the Sears Tower. From a glass platform 103 floors up, you can take in panoramic views of Chicago.
Okay, Joe, it's time to go on the sky deck. You all set?
No, not in the slides.
You can go first, okay?
Now, a lot of you recommended that if you come to Chicago, you have to go to the sky deck. I have a morbid fear of heights. And if you notice, I'm not looking down at all, but I'm standing now on a 1.5 inch thick pane of glass over 100 stories up. Why would anybody do that for fun? Why would you pay to get in and do that?
My turn to go out on the ledge now. Woo! That is high. Okay, so you wouldn't want to dance a jig on it, but the city is amazing. It's vast and the views are absolutely gorgeous. No, well worth doing. 103 floors up and it's just lovely. I'll try it again. No, that's grand. Nothing worth worrying about.
There we go, that's lovely. Go on. Wow, you'd never guess you were 1,350 feet up.
You okay?
I'm all right, thank you very much. Solid grind, you feel so good.
But the views are just spectacular. Are you sure you're okay? We'll go for tea.
Do you know what, I'm fine. I prefer looking at it from down here, looking up. That's equally as good, thank you.
There's an abundance of museums here in Chicago. Whether you're interested in art, science or history, there's something here for you. I'm going to see a really special exhibit here at the Field Museum. Dinosaur fossils are always interesting, so if you want to see the largest, most complete, best preserved Tyrannosaurus Rex in the world, you should come here and meet this lovely lady Sue. Sue lived about 67 million years ago, and then she would have been 14 metres in length, about 4 metres tall, and would have weighed over 7 tonnes. Sue is named after the fossil hunter who discovered her in 1990, and the Field Museum here paid $8.36 million for her, the highest amount ever paid for a fossil.
The Field Museum of Natural History has a fantastic dinosaur display. There are 4.6 billion years worth of exhibits here, so it may take some time to get around. There are also regularly changing exhibitions covering everything from the evolving planet to the ancient world.
So many of you contacted our website and said that when you come here, you have to visit the hallowed ground of baseball, Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. And your best advice was, get a hot dog, hit the bleachers, and enjoy. The Cubs are known as the lovable losers, as they haven't won the World Series in over 100 years. Kind of like Carrick Rangers back home, except the Cubs will attract over 30,000 supporters every single game. Fair play, lads. The Cubs have a terrible record.
Yes, they do.
Yet over 30,000 of you will come to every single game.
Right, right.
Why? Why?
They're like family. You support your family.
Do you think you're going to see a World Series in, say, the next 5 years?
Well, I would certainly hope so. Or I've been spending my whole life on the wrong team.
Well, I think as one of your local sports commentators said, any team can have a bad century.
But they passed that already. They're into the second century.
You are due some luck. Good luck. I hope you see a World Series in this couple of years.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, we're not actually allowed inside the stadium to film. The team are tied up with a sports television network. It happens. If, like us, you maybe can't get a ticket to get into the game, you can take advantage of this. Look, the buildings across the way from the stadium have put bleachers up on the roof. Now that's enterprise.
As well as catching a game, you also told us that this area, Wrigleyville, is a good place for sports bars and restaurants. Perfect for hanging out with the sports jocks. The Major League Baseball season runs between April and October, and there are around 160 games, so matches are played pretty regularly.
Chicago has one of the richest musical histories of any American city, and Buddy Guy is considered one of the city's most influential musicians. He's credited with being the pioneer of the Chicago blues sound.
This place called Chicago.
Every night, different blues musicians play in his club.
Say I'm gonna leave and get a job.
The blues developed here alongside the Great Migration from the South in the early 20th century, when African Americans were moving north to get jobs in industrial cities like Chicago. The lyrics classically depict tales of struggle, heartache and loss.
And bring it back to Tobacco Road.
Now, you cannot come to Chicago without getting the blues, and your first port of call should be Buddy Guy's Legends Club.
I can't wait for this.
Come on, come on. Let's go.
If y'all feel all right, say yeah.
Buddy Guy tours internationally, and although he usually only plays here in January, our luck was in as the king of the Chicago blues decided to take a turn on stage.
Say something to you. And I really don't care how you feel. You just don't realize that you got yourself a good deed. Thank you very much. I love you, man.
Major musicians that have played with and been inspired by Buddy Guy include Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page.
That was absolutely amazing. Chicago really is home of the blues.
And Buddy Guy was in there.
Listen, baby.
Now, there's no denying Chicago is an expensive city to stay in, as it's geared towards business conferences. I went to meet an Irish man who's running one of the city's top 5-star hotels, the landmark Trump Tower, and I asked him to show me one of the best suites. The views here are spectacular, Colm.
They're great, you know, you get the view right down the river.
So, Colm, you are now Vice President and General Manager of Trump Towers here in Chicago.
Yes,
That's amazing. Can you tell me where you're originally from?
I'm originally from Killarney. My family have a small little hotel in Killarney, right in the middle of town called the Fáilte, and my mum still works there 7 nights a week. I guess through lack of imagination. I stayed in the hotel business, and I found myself here working at Trump Tower in Chicago.
And it's such a beautiful tower, and this is such a beautiful room as well. How much would it cost to stay here for one night, say?
Evian, you've got expensive tastes, because this particular suite costs $1,800 a night, but what you're also paying for, these dramatic and exciting views of the city, the skyline, the lake and the river. We also have more affordable options within the property.
So if we were coming over now just for a city break, what's the top tip you'd have for an Irish tourist coming here?
God, there's so many tips I could give. I would just say be ready to be surprised. And it's a lot more affordable than New York. It's clean, it's organised. The people are so friendly and down to earth. You got great theatre, great restaurants. You got everything that New York has, but people are much less caffeinated and they've got more time for you.
If you can afford a room with a view, starting prices at the Trump Tower are from $395.
For our trip, we stayed in the Swiss Hotel Chicago. It's in a prime location, being within walking distance of the main shopping streets, Millennium Park and Navy Pier. But a great location always comes at a price. The rate for a room here per night is some $259 plus tax, and breakfast is not included.
Okay, it's not a cheap city, but a low-cost option is hosteling. You can get a bunk in Hosteling International Chicago from as little as $35 per bunk per night. There are also family rooms available that sleep 4 or 5, and these cost $130 plus tax per night. rooms are clean and breakfast, towels and bed linen are provided. The hostel also provides free outings, such as walking tours and trips to local jazz clubs.
We booked flights and hotels separately and flew with Aer Lingus from Dublin. For more information on all our holidays, visit bbc.co.uk/ni/getaways.
Right in the heart of the city is one of yours and indeed our favourite spots. This is Millennium Park. Now, Chicago has one of the most enviable collections of public art in the country, and this is the most iconic. British artist Anish Kapoor's Cloud Gate. The locals love it so much they've even given it its own nickname. What else? The Bean. $110 tons of seamless, polished, stainless steel. The curve of it brings in all those harsh verticals of the skyscrapers, drawing in its environment, and draws in the crowds as well.
Right next to the Bean in Millennium Park is another amazing sculpture, and this one doubles up as a concert venue.
This is one of the most perfect marriages of function and design. This is the Pritzker Pavilion, designed by Frank Gehry. Not only is it visually stunning, but this was designed to replicate interior sound in an external environment. It's an audio-visual triumph.
The Pritzker Pavilion has 4,000 fixed seats and 7,000 lawn seats. Concerts and musical events are held here throughout the summer. And the best news is that they're absolutely free. And if you can't stand the heat, then Millennium Park has somewhere ingenious to cool off.
This is the Crown Fountain, two glass brick monoliths that act as fountains to cool down the visitors to the park. This is the bit I love about it. On each of the facing walls, there are projected images of over 1,000 citizens of Chicago, which basically means the fountain is about the city and for the people of the city.
And from one crowd pleaser to another, this time to a much older city institution.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Chicago is very well known for its fantastic food, but it is most famous for its signature dish.
And that's the deep dish pizza. We're here in the restaurant of Lou Malnati, who created it. Looks good.
That looks incredible.
I don't know if we'll be able to finish it all, Joe.
You're about to see something really special. You know what makes a good pizza? And this has it. The perfect ratio of base, sauce and cheese. Oh, I surrender. It's perfect. It's a perfect pizza.
Now, for those who prefer not to travel too far, I'm going back to my home county to see what it offers for a weekend break.
I'm from County Mayo and it's famous for its beautiful landscapes. I'm delighted to be home, and this weekend I'm going to try something a bit different.
Learn to breaks are increasingly popular, and there's all sorts of things you can try your hand at.
I love hats, and today I'm going to try and make one.
I'm going to a hat making workshop in the home of Lena Stein. Lena trained in classic theatrical millinery and is known for her flamboyant creations. She holds regular hat making workshops for both beginners and intermediates.
So if you want to get ahead, get a hat. So Lena, what am I going to try and make today?
Well, today even you're going to make a felt cocktail hat, or a bibi as they're called in French. Now to mould the felt, what we need is steam. And let's get hatting.
Once the felt was mouldable, we made the base of our hat by stretching the felt over a standard wooden base, known as a block. Then it was time to start the decorative pieces.
So I'm going to trace around one of my blocks with some tailor's chalk. Now I'm going to cut them out.
Are hats back in fashion? Are people still wearing them as often as they
Oh,
used
they're
to?
very, very popular. Even these little ones. People wear them out even to the pub at night. So, let's get cracking. Not to burn yourself, the pliers are a great help. To make our trimming, we're going to use a tool called a flower making tool. Get a cushion, going to steam your felt. put a huge amount of pressure on and pull against it.
Can I try one?
Yes, of course. Put the ball in and just pull the felt up around it.
You need to be strong.
Then you can kind of get an idea of what you've just done. You just position them inside each other. So make one more.
What hats are in fashion now, Lena?
Fascinators are still on the go. They've changed a bit, getting a bit bigger, more structured, more hat-like. But for the winter, definitely a felt hat is a must.
And how do you know what type of hat suits you?
People with pointy features shouldn't be wearing angular hats, so go for something rounded.
Okay.
If you've got rounded features, a hat with angles is good, or pointy feathers coming off it. There's a hat out there for everyone. You just have to find it.
So what do you think, Lena?
Oh, that is stunning, Evie. That is so pretty. You're going to sew your flower onto your base.
Okay.
And I might just even put the pearl on straight away.
Okay.
And we'll sew that on. Then we'll move across and we'll do the other side.
That's fabulous.
So, there you go.
Oh, I love it. Thanks, Lena.
It's very Chanel.
Ooh, thank you.
Lena's workshop is based just outside Westport, which is renowned as a popular holiday destination. And there's good reason it's so popular. It's right next to some amazing beaches.
Bertram Beach is one of my favourite places to come for a walk. It's a little less crowded than the rest of the beaches, and it's a great place to blow away the cobwebs.
As well as the beautiful beaches and scenery, visitors are also attracted here by the pilgrimage mountain of Crowpatrick, where many people still make the barefoot walk to the chapel at its summit.
Now, I think we're all guilty of not going to see the local tourist attractions in our own area, and I'm from Mayo, but I've never been to this museum before.
The Museum of Country Life is a branch of the National Museum of Ireland. The first surprise is the modern exterior, and inside there are some fascinating collections.
The museum has artefacts from all aspects of rural life in Ireland, dating from the time of the famine until the end of the Second World War. A lot of the exhibits here at the museum show some amazing craftsmanship, just like this, which is a hen's nest made from straw.
There are 6 permanent exhibitions: Romanticism and Reality, Trades and Crafts, The Times, The Natural Environment, Activities in the Home, and Working on the Land and Water. And on the day I visited, there was a cross-stitch demonstration going on in the Trades and Crafts Gallery.
So this is what the ladies of the day would have been doing in their spare time.
Well-to-do ladies would probably have sat, they might have done some practical sewing like shirt making and such like, but they filled their time with fancy work, which was mainly embroidery.
And how about if you weren't so well off? Like, would you still have to learn how to do this?
A lot of not so well off children go into service. One of their jobs might be to actually sew the monogram for the family on things like sheets.
I don't think I'd be very employable yet. Just having a line of orange. Getting there.
Well, you're getting there.
I think it looks great.
And if you want more information, visit our website bbc.co.uk/ni/getaways. There are loads of options for places to stay in this area, from country house hotels to budget-friendly B&Bs.
Anytime I'm home, I love to get a few tunes in, and this is one of my favourite spots for a trad session.
Matt Malloy's has become one of the best-known pubs in Ireland for traditional music sessions. I should admit that I'm not quite in their league, but it's great to get the chance to play with some talented local musicians. The pub is owned by Matt Malloy, who played with the Chieftains, and tonight we're joined by his son Peter, who's on the flute.
A bit of music like that's always good for the soul.
And now our #1 choice from your recommendations for things to do in the Windy City.
This is Navy Pier, situated right beside the city centre, and it is Chicago's top tourist attraction. 9 million visitors a year, can't be wrong.
Distinguished by its landmark Ferris wheel, Navy Pier was used by the American Navy in World War II for training. You told us to come here for a great day's entertainment. This Ferris wheel is 150 feet high and is modelled on the very first one that was built for the Chicago World Fair in 1893, and I think that it's a lovely way of seeing the city skyline.
Navy Pier is an entertainment resort right next to the city, so you're getting the best of both worlds.
From the pier you can take a boat tour on the lake or grab a boat taxi into the city, which only takes 10 minutes and costs $5. Great value.
The thing I love about Navy Pier, and indeed Chicago in general, is it's not just about entertainment and indeed things you have to pay for. They try and bring as much art and culture to the public as they possibly can for free, and I think they're very successful at it.
Joe, does it beat New York then?
Absolutely, hands down it does. Plus it's a more compact city. It's a very different city, but it has all the attractions of the lakeside.
I think it's the cleanest, most friendly city I've ever been to, and I just loved it.
Why don't you try it yourself?
Join us next time on Getaways.
And to top it all off, Chicago has one last treat. Every Wednesday and Saturday, there's a free fireworks display held on Navy Pier. It's an awesome way to say goodbye to an incredible city.
And next week's Getaways is at the same time and include Lisbon and Leitrim. Up next tonight, a BBC News update.